Wel, Jeremy, diolch yn fawr am y gyflwyniad caredig yma. Cael ddweud, dwi'n mynd i siarad yn Gymraeg ac yn Saesneg. Dwi'n meddwl mae cyfeithiad ar y pryd ar gael. I'm going to be speaking in Welsh and in English this evening, so those of you who might want to use the simultaneous translation facilities, I know they're available here. It's a great pleasure to join you all this evening. There are people here who will have known Terry Higgins and far more about him than I would have done. I saw in my own notes, as Jeremy told you, that when Terry worked in London, he worked as a Hansard reporter by day and a barman and a DJ by night, and that did seem to me to be a pretty remarkable sort of combination. I couldn't help but wonder of those people that he met in both parts of his life at the same time. And certainly, as Jeremy said, it led to both the remarkable life that he led, but also the remarkable organisation that has been created in his name. And it's great to see Martin here this evening and to acknowledge all those others who have been part of that remarkable story. The Terrence Higgins Trust today is the UK's leading HIV and sexual health charity, recognised of course here in Wales, but far wider than that throughout the world for the work that it continues to do, the support it continues to provide, and for that astounding impact that it has had on the lives of so many people in the UK. Here in Wales, the Trust inherits the legacy of Cardiff AIDS Helpline and Cardiff Body Positive, and has worked hard since the merger to ensure that there is a HIV service and an advocacy organisation that operates here across Wales. That recently fully bilingual campaign to promote the message that ni all bobl ar triniaeth effeithiol ar gyfer HIV basio virus ymlaen. People on effective HIV treatment cannot pass on the virus. And mae'r PrEP yn eich amddiffyn chi rag HIV. PrEP protects you from HIV. Those messages will have been seen in a huge number of stations, supermarkets, university campuses, and on social media throughout Wales, changing hearts, changing minds, and here in Wales we are committed to making sure that there is more, not less, of that campaigning work in the future. And in that way, it is hugely encouraging to know of the Trust's plans for a substantial six-figure new investment in Welsh provision over the next 3 years. Wel, yn ein digwyddiad heno, rydyn ni'n dallu gwaith yr ymriadolaeth, ond rydyn ni hefyd yn eich gwahodd i chi i gyd i cymryd rhan yn yr amgynghoriad ar ein cynlluniau gweithredu HIV a hunan. A gafodd ei lansio ddoe yn y Senedd fan hyn gan y gweinidog iechyd. It's really important for us to ask all of you, and through you, all of those others that you will know, to join us in the consultation on our new HIV action plan. Launched here in the Senedd only yesterday and now for 12 weeks, out there for views, improvements, proposals, suggestions. The richer the consultation, the better the final plan will be. And people in this room this evening, and as I say, all the individuals and organisations with whom you are in contact, that will be critical to us getting the very most we can out of the plan to which we are committed. Mae'r cynllun yn gwireddu'r ymrwymiad uchelgeisiol yn ein reglen llywodraethu i ddatblygu cynllun gweithredu HIV i Gymru, ac i daclo stigma a mae rai sy'n byw gyda HIV yn dal i'w brofi yn anffodus. Ein bod wedi dod yn bell ac wedi cymryd camau mawr ymlaen mewn nifer o feisydd sy'n gysylltiedig â HIV yn ystod y blynyddoedd diwetha, mae'n llawer mwy wrth cwrs fel arfer i'w wneud. Mae ein cynllun gweithredu yn nodi 6 ar 20 o gamau gweithredu uchelgeisiol, ond cyrraeddadwy i gyflawni erbyn 2026. A'i gobaith yw y bydd y mesurau hyn yn hwb mawr i Gymru allu gyrraedd darget sefydliad iechyd y byd o ddim heintiau HIV erbyn 2030. A hefyd, yn hollol bwysig sicrhau bod unrhyw stigma ynglyn â HIV yn anerbyniol. And that point about the actions we need to continue to take to deal with stigma in this field just reminds us all that although many strides have been made, many advances in treatments have been achieved, that underlying assault on stigma continues to be at the heart of our plan and the actions we want to take here in Wales. The action plan, as we've launched it, has 26 ambitions. It is ambitious, but importantly, those ambitions are intended to be achievable. They're at the challenging end of what is achievable, but if we deliver on the plan, then the actions that we want to see achieved by 2026 will go a long way in making sure that Wales becomes the first UK nation to make the World Health Organisation's target of 0 HIV infections by 2030, something that we can actually make happen here in Wales, and we absolutely want to be the first UK government to achieve it. In all of that, while we have come a long way since the dark days of the 1980s, when the Terrence, Higgins Trust and so many others fought the ignorance and the cruelty that so many individuals with HIV had to endure, we in this place recognise that no struggle in behalf of any progressive cause has ever been won by taking for granted the ground that has been gained. That ground is there to be defended, and further ground is there to be gained. But the struggle is real, and this plan has that understanding at its heart. At its heart, a determination that there is no place for ignorance or intolerance in the Wales we want to see. And the actions that we set out in our plan are based on our determination that we want to see a Wales where we achieve nothing less than the end of that bigotry and of that prejudice. Now, the good news is that we can take forward that ambition from a foundation of solid achievement. Solid achievement made alongside our partners, including the Terrence Higgins Trust, to, for example, bring about the significant reduction seen in Wales in new diagnoses of HIV. Between 2015 and 2021, new diagnoses of HIV in Wales decreased by 75%. And that's a huge achievement, and you can't achieve change on that scale without drawing together the contribution of so many individuals and so many organisations. In that achievement, a significant factor has been the commitment by the NHS and by the Welsh Government to provide PrEP for all of those for whom it's clinically indicated, and we've been doing that since the summer of 2017. And while the last few years have been hugely challenging for us all, one of the things that we have learnt from it is that faced with the way in which sexual health services had to change in the pandemic, access to HIV testing maintained through face-to-face consultations and the rapid deployment of online testing has resulted in more people being tested for HIV between January and March of this year than in any previous quarter. So out of that very difficult experience, we've learned something about the way in which we can provide services in a way that makes them more accessible and more usable. And we have committed in recent days, as a Welsh Government, to an additional £3.9 million of investment to make sure that that online HIV testing option becomes not just part of an emergency response in a pandemic, but part of the way we do everyday business in the Welsh NHS from now on. So the plan has a series of actions within it, and I'm not going to run through them all for you this evening. But if you respond to the consultation exercise, you will see them all there. And you will see, I hope, that fundamentally the plan is grounded in that belief that no one should be left behind, that inclusivity and diversity are here to be celebrated in Wales. They make Wales the place we want it to be, and that in the heart of every community, there should be that sense of dialogue, of debate, of shared decision-making, and an acknowledgement that diversity is part of the strength of all of our communities, and that we can make them even stronger by celebrating that diversity into the future. Lots of people to recognise on an evening such as this: Pride Cymru, Stonewall Cymru, the Terrence, Higgins Trust Cymru, and crucially those expert patients who live with HIV and who've helped us so much in putting the plan together. There are a series of organisations and individuals who've been critically important in helping us both in the fight against HIV in recent years and making sure that we can go on fighting that fight and winning that fight in the period ahead. Because we know from the history of this cruel virus that it's only through collaboration and uniting around those specific actions that we're able to make that difference in the lives of people living with HIV today, and then to make a difference for those future generations. This time last year, much of Wales was contemplating HIV in the wake of It's a Sin hitting our television screens. Russell T Davies, of course, once again, but Welsh characters as well at the heart of that programme. And we know that he will have consulted people in this room tonight to ensure the accuracy and the efficacy of that drama, a drama that told untold stories of many who'd been lost. It's in their memory that we want to redouble our efforts and ensure the pandemic today, different in so many ways, is ended for everybody while we have the opportunity to do so. Diolch yn fawr iawn I chi gyd am ymuno â ni yma yn y digwyddiad heno. Mae'n fraint cael cynrychioli Llywodraeth Cymru gyda chi I gyd. Thank you all for being here this evening and for the opportunity to share some small account of the actions the Welsh Government is taking already and wants to develop with you over the weeks and months ahead.